Hello, valued viewers. I hope you're all doing very well. A special shout out to my Super Thanks contributor at Carl Brasilla 9485, and because he contributed $20 or more, he selected to do a video. And that video is the Milwaukee Road's final class of steam locomotives, the S3, and more specifically the number 261. And just a quick reminder, if you would like a video done such as Carl's, all you have to do is hit the Super Thanks button and contribute $20 or more and name your title in the comments, and I do it first thing because your video takes priority over anything that I'm doing. Alright, so without further ado, let's get on with the video. Alrighty, so the Milwaukee Road's number 261 is a 484 Northern type steam locomotive in which the railroad once owned nearly 50 such designs. Like most late model steam locomotives, the Milwaukee Road's 484s had a relatively short lifespan, and all of these new S3s were retired in less than 20 years, and to be more exact, about 10 years' time. Okay, so today, two of the Milwaukee Road's 484 remain preserved. The number 265 is on static display at the Illinois Railroad Museum in Union, Illinois, and then there's the most famous one, which is the number 261. And number 261 was in danger of being put on static display permanently in 2008 when its owner, the National Railroad Museum, along with the Friends of 261, could not agree on a new lease. After a 2-year period, the museum finally agreed to sell the locomotive back to the Friends. In 2013, number 261 returned to excursion service. Since that time, the Big 484 has once again been among the public as it hosts excursions across the Midwest. And while several railroads had different names for their 484 designs, the Milwaukee Road struck with a traditional Northern designation. Purely on looks, the Northern type in general was one of the most beautiful steam locomotives designs ever developed. While some of these handsome locomotives would receive streamlining without even such enhancements, they were still a fine-looking piece of machinery with a streamlined tender and centered headlight. This steam locomotive gained its name from the Northern Pacific Railway due to the fact that to burn the low-grade coal found along the railroad, the steamer needed a larger firebox. And one particular feature that made the 484 wheel arrangement so successful was its versatility, where it was just as capable of pulling a time-sensitive passenger train clipping along at 70 miles an hour as it was at lugging a heavy freight over stiff grades. And this versatility, along with the locomotive being equipped with some of the latest technology, made the Northern type one of the most successful designs of all time, with over 1,000 being built for 36 different railroads. And as for the Milwaukee Road, its use of the 484 design began in 1930 when the railroad's motive power department, well known for developing or enhancing steam locomotive designs, worked in conjunction with the Baldwin Locomotive Works to construct a Northern, which originally received the road number of 9700, but was later changed to number 250 upon the railroad receiving more such designs. So following this original 9700 design, which was designated as S1, the Milwaukee Road placed no further interest or need for any future 484s until the late 1930s, and that's when Baldwin completed an order of 30 for the railroad in 1937. This group of 484s with road numbers 201 to 230 was designated as Class S2 and was the most powerful and heaviest Northerns on the Milwaukee's lines. And these S2s exerted 70,800 pounds of tractive effort with a boiler pressure of 285 psi. And then again in 1940, the Milwaukee Road returned to Baldwin for more 484s, which also were Class S2s, and those were road numbers number 231 to 240. The Milwaukee Road's final order of Northerns came in 1943 and were needed for the wartime traffic boom. This time, the Milwaukee contracted with the American Locomotive Company for 10 more 484s classed as S3s with road numbers 260 to 269. And they were less powerful than the S2s, but they were more efficient as the S3s featured the latest in steam locomotive technology such as roller bearings. It should be noted that the Milwaukee Road's own shop forces constructed a 484 in 1938, and it was classed as an S1 with a road number of 251 and had a similar rating as to its earlier sister, the 9700, built in 1930. In general, the railroad used all of its Northerns in freight service, and particularly the powerful S2s. And like just about every other railroad, after World War II, the Milwaukee Road picked up its pace for dieselization and replacing its steam fleet. And as for the 484s, their time was short. In the case of the Milwaukee Road number 261 and its sister Class S3s, they saw barely a decade of service before retirement in 1954, and around that time, virtually all the Northerns were retired. For Milwaukee Road number 261, it was one of the survivors as the railroad donated the locomotive to the National Railroad Museum in Green Bay, Wisconsin in 1958. That was their first piece of equipment the museum ever owned. And here it sat for more than 30 years on static display until a group known as the Friends of the 261, which was formed in 1991 to preserve and restore the locomotive back to operation. And in just 2 years' time, the Milwaukee Road's number 261 restoration was complete, and it immediately began to see use in excursion service. So yeah, a 2-year turnaround time to restore a locomotive that had been sitting around that long, that's pretty remarkable, considering that this group is not the Union Pacific Railroad with all its resources. And since its restoration, number 261 has become somewhat of a celebrity across the country, and it operates both east and west in conjunction with the Amtrak and for numerous other promotional events. This success can be mostly contributed to the Friends of number 261, now known as the Railroading Heritage of Midwest America Incorporated. And folks, as a side note, if I'm not mistaken, they're also now restoring the Union Pacific's Challenger number 3985, I believe. Let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong about that. And the RHMA is headed by Steve Sandberg, and it is operated as a quasi-business, although it is technically a non-profit organization. This philosophy has allowed the number 261 to prosper, enabling it to be properly maintained year after year and even featured as an entire consist of restored passenger cars, virtually all of which are the Milwaukee Road's lineage, which are all maintained to Amtrak standards. Of course, the operation also would not be successful without the large group of volunteers who take pride in maintaining this giant 484 locomotive. So in late 2008, the locomotive was in danger of never running again. The 261 had always been operated on a lease agreement by the Friends, as the National Railroad Museum remained owner of the locomotive. When the 484 went down in the fall of 2008 for its normal FRA boiler inspection for lease renewal, which expired at year's end, and that part remained unresolved. And this carried through 2009 until it was learned that the two groups could not negotiate new lease terms, and it was feared Milwaukee Road 261 would return to static display in Green Bay. Then things finally heated up in early 2010 when it was reported that the locomotive was able to be sold to a private collector for return to operation by the Friends. And finally, on May 8th of 2010, the Friends would purchase the locomotives themselves for a little less than $250,000. And one other note for the 261, on March 11, 2021, a $200,000 proposal was made to convert number 261's firebox from burning coal to oil. However, this was not the first time an S3 class was converted to oil, as numbers 262, 263, 267, and 269 were converted to oil during their revenue careers. And last note here, the 261 is one of the most popular excursion trains in this country, if not the world, and maybe only second to the 4014 Union Pacific Big Boy and the Southern Pacific Daylight operation over here on the Oregon coast. And with that, the following specifications apply to the Milwaukee Road's 484 Class S3 locomotive number 261. The main driver wheel diameter was 74 inches, the lead axle was 38 inches, and the trailing axle was 44-inch wheels. The length of the locomotive was 109 feet 7 3/4 inches. The height of the locomotive was 15 feet 6 inches. The axle load was 64,825 pounds. The adhesive weight over the drivers was 259,300 pounds. The locomotive weight by itself was 460,000 pounds. The tender weight by itself was 364,100 pounds, for a combined total weight of 824,100 pounds. The fuel type was coal, and now we're having a conversion to oil. The fuel capacity was 50,000 short tons of, the fuel capacity was 50,000 pounds, and that was 25 short tons. The water capacity was 20,000 US gallons. The boiler pressure was 250 psi. There were two cylinders at 26 inches by 32 inches. The maximum speed of the locomotive was 100 miles an hour. The power output was 4,500 horsepower. The tractive effort was 62,119 pounds. The factor of adhesion was a solid 4.17. and the classification was S3, and the 261 was the second of 10 locomotives built within this class. And lastly, the locomotive was retired from revenue service in August of 1956. And with that, we'll wrap up the video. I shall thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the content, please hit the like button. And also, if you've not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, as both the like and the subscribes help the channel grow immensely. And don't forget about the super thanks button next to the like button if you want to contribute to the channel's efforts. If not, you can also visit our print shop at Nickel Plate Limited on Etsy.com. And we thank you once again.